Hello and welcome to Let's Review. Sometimes things align perfectly. The stars find their absolute perfect position in the heavens. The world sings in glorious harmonious elegance. And then there are weeks like the one I've had where bloody nothing cooperates with you, and frankly you're lucky if you can find 5 minutes to sit down and do anything. My original plan had been to record Deus Ex Mankind Divided this week, but that went out the window. Still, it gave me the opportunity to do a full-on theme month, and as such, for the next 4 weeks, we are going to talk about each and every one of the Deus Ex games. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Deus Ex Month. The original Deus Ex came out in the year 2000, but I didn't get the opportunity to play it until about a year and a half ago. And I'll be honest, this game really has not aged well at all. So my thoughts don't exactly gel with those of the majority, especially given that Deus Ex still has a habit of topping best games of all time lists. Are you implying that it is simple nostalgia that keeps it there? Maybe? The thing that's always cited in this game is its freedom, the ability to handle missions in pretty much any way you want within the game's systems. But the problem is that a lot of those systems are actually pretty quirky in their own way. Stealth in particular is extremely dodgy to use because the enemies are very, very unpredictable in what will actually give you away. Sometimes you'll be standing pretty much directly in their line of sight and they'll miss you, and other times you'll be hidden in perfect darkness and yet somehow they'll spot you from a mile away. It also doesn't help that the tranq gun is completely worthless. Is it not technically a crossbow? Alright, if you want to be picky about it. Look, the main problem with the tranq gun is that whenever you shoot someone with it, they will run around like headless chickens for a while before they actually fall unconscious. Almost always in a way that'll sound an alarm, making the thing basically worthless. And it's weird, quirky design decisions like that that permeate throughout this entire game. And yet I do still enjoy it. Some of the time. And there is the qualification. Well, yeah. Where I honestly enjoy this game the most is in its little moments. Take, for example, the first time I went to the UNATCO base, your home base of operations. I did what I always do. I looked in pretty much every room, I nicked anything that wasn't nailed down, and generally I explored it. And when I eventually did go to my boss's office where I'd been ordered to report, the guy chastised me for going in the women's bathroom. And that little moment just had me giggling for ages. Was it truly that amusing? Probably not, but it was just so unexpected. I'm not used to a game calling me out on things like that. I mean, guards trying to kill me because I've gone into a restricted area? Sure, that happens all the time, but a simple order to stop creeping on the female staff? That's just brilliant. I'm amazed they realised the players would do that and they thought to include it. And it's one of 1,000 tiny things that really does help elevate this game, in spite of all the things that really don't work. Those being... well, the voice acting for one thing. That really hasn't aged well. I mean, at all. Your main character, JC Denton in particular, is about as wooden as the average tree. And frankly, the rest of the cast are pretty much on a par with him. Scenes that should have dramatic emotional weight just don't, because they're delivered with all the enthusiasm of a Royal Mail postal worker. You realise I trust that that reference won't exactly travel well. The other thing that people love to praise about this game is its story, and for the most part, they're not wrong. The story is a very interesting, twisty, twiny, conspiracy-laden tale that actually does have some really good moments and really good elements. Unfortunately, it's also got quite a few issues, particularly if you're somebody like me who can't hear any story with the name Illuminati in it and take it seriously. Are you implying that the Illuminati are not real? Do I think that there is a secret organisation that's existed since the dawn of humanity and is working to bring the rest of the human race entirely under their control, and they've managed to keep it secret all these years? Well, I wouldn't rule it out if I'm honest. But the one thing I would rule out is that they would let their actual name get loose to the general public and thus become the centre of almost every one of the most famous conspiracy theories on the planet. Unless, of course, they did it on purpose in order to create that entire line of logical reasoning. Granted, but if we get into that, we'll end up double and triple thinking ourselves into a mental hamster wheel and, look, frankly, we'll never get anywhere. Ultimately, Deus Ex is one of those odd games that I can absolutely understand why so many people love it. And I maintain that if I'd played it much closer to its original creation, I'd probably be one of those people who love it that much. But because I only played it for the first time a year or so ago, I can see all the flaws that have appeared with age. It's not a game that has aged well in any regard. The graphics in particular are extremely dated, as are many, many, many parts of the gameplay. Games have come a very long way in 15 years, and noticing all the things that could be improved with a modern remake just make me a little bit sad. That's not to say it's not a good game, but it's very much a flawed gem, and I do wish that I could gain as much enjoyment from it as so many other people have. Next week, Deus Ex Month continues with a look at the sequel that, well, has a lot fewer defenders. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go put on a tinfoil hat, just in case the Illuminati are trying to control my brain using chemtrails, or some such bollocks. I'll see you later.